they lived in Boise on North 20th, which was a very nice area of Boise. They didn't have the biggest houses on their street, but that was one of the most beautiful areas in Boise, still is. And he and a friend, or not a friend, a relative, they built these little houses. They were just small houses. And they had just built a house for his cousin, I think, I think it was his cousin, and they lived next to each other. And he thought it was his opportunity to do bigger things. And so my mother, knowing he wanted to move out there so badly, said okay. But we could have stayed in Boise, and he could have driven out there and driven home every day, but we moved out there. And
to do what?
He wanted a cattle ranch. And
say that one more time, sorry.
Okay. He wanted a cattle ranch, and it was his dream his whole life. And my mother always said, you were just born 50 years too late. He loved the country, he loved cattle, he loved being his own boss and having all this acreage, and just loved it. But he worked really hard, and after we moved out there, it was just, there was no one within sight. I don't even know. I don't even know the closest house. It was just really out there. And he loved every minute of it. I don't think my mother disliked it too much, because she just did her own thing. She just decorated the house. She's kind of like that and loved that. And she's an artist, and she painted, and she slip covered, and she did all kinds of things. I think she had fun doing that. And she was okay with it, I think. But I did not like it. And my brothers worked really hard. I have to say that. And it wasn't what they would want. They were not outdoorsy. Well, one brother is. Take that back. But my two brothers, two of them were not into it at all. But my dad drove for Greyhound bus. After he bought that, that was a good job compared to things at the time anyway. And so he could pay for the ranch with that. And as soon as he paid off the ranch, he quit driving and went into not farming, but ranching full time. And he was thrilled with it. He loved it, every bit of it. And he did really well. He really did really well as soon as he quit driving bus and had time to do it. But my brothers were teenagers all during that time, and they couldn't play football. We couldn't stay after school. No extracurricular activities. It was just go home and do what has to be done. And my mother worked because she wanted to get it out of the house. And she'd come home maybe at 5 or 6 or 9. And my dad would be gone. When he drove bus, he'd be gone maybe a day or two, and then he'd be back, or maybe one day. It depended on where he'd go, and then he'd be back. But it was up to my poor brothers to keep things going. And that was a big responsibility. And I didn't have to do anything outside, but I had a lot to do in the house. Not that it was terrible, but I usually had to keep things clean and do the dishes and the laundry and stuff like that.